What's up, guys? Gonna start here in Hebrews chapter 12, verses 1 through 2. It says, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is seated at the right hand of the throne of God." Now, these verses you can talk about for hours, honestly. There's so much in just these two verses. But I want to focus on this concept of the race of the faith that Paul has kind of touched on, and it seems like the author of Hebrews is touching on here too. It's running the race of faith in our lives. And what does that look like? Well, essentially finishing our life in our faith with Christ, right, in our walk with God, because it's a very long race. This race of faith is not it's not a sprint, obviously, but it's more of a marathon. And I think we need to treat our walks with God, or the race, like a marathon, which, if you've ever ran a marathon, I haven't, but I've run long distance races before, you realize you're not going to sprint and try to get it over all at once. It's little by little. You need to have a strategy, and you need to just also train quite a bit for it. So it's the same thing for the race of faith. You can't just try to take it all at once. You can't just try to grit and power through it. You can't think it's going to be over quickly. This is a race that once you come to Christ, you're in for the rest of your life. And when Paul was at the end of his life, that's when he wrote in one of the letters that he has finished the race. He has finally finished the race, and he's going to now receive this imperishable crown because of it, right? And we're all running for the same thing, and races here on earth, whatever, they run for perishable things. And in that time, with the Olympics and everything being huge, with the Greeks and all that stuff, they were all running for perishable prizes, because they would receive those like little, green leaf crowns from the Olympics. So they're running for a crown, but us, an imperishable crown, the crown of of life that will be given when we're called into God's presence, when this whole thing wraps up here. So there's kind of four main points that the author of Hebrews is touching on here to be able to run the race, and I'll name them first and kind of, well, actually I'll just go down as we say it. So it says, first, let us lay aside every weight. Now, normally when people read this verse, they think of sin. Let us lay aside every sin, and it's not, because the very next kind of phrase here that we're going to cover is the sin which clings. So for this first one here, it's saying, let us lay aside every weight. Now, when we think of running a race, obviously there's some people that train distance with ankle weights, right? It's the same concept here, where there's certain things that can be good for training, but you never would want to run the race with these weights on. And a lot of us, will think of sin in this case, but these weights that cling onto our lives aren't just sin or things that are inherently bad. It's anything that weighs you down, or anything that deviates you even the tiniest bit from this race of faith, or from having a better and closer relationship with God, from being a more godly person. You need to lay it aside. And a lot of us don't think that can be our jobs, that can be money, that can be certain friendships, that can be certain relationships. People don't think that applies to this, but it certainly does. I just dropped my phone. That certainly does apply here. It's lay aside every single weight. Anything that weighs you down, it's better to get rid of it in your life, is what the author of Hebrews is saying here. It's just better to get rid of it in your life, because it's not going to help you run this race with an endurance. Because I want to, at the end of my life, I want to say I ran the race and I ran the distance that God had intended for me to run in my life. Not I was constantly held down by the weight of a job I shouldn't have had, or working too many hours, or having friendships that would constantly distract me and pull me further away from God. So any weight, anything, even the things that may seem good or that serve you and have a purpose in your life, get rid of them. They're not worth holding on to. And I think one of the quickest prayers God will probably ever answer to you is ask him, God, what are the weights that are weighing me down? And trust me, it's pretty much asking him to reveal the desires of your heart. You will very quickly receive an answer as to what it is and kind of what you need to get rid of in your life. The second one is the sin which clings. Now this is now talking about sin, but it's when sin just sits there and simmers. It's sin that you continually come back to and back to and back to, because it's unrealistic to say get rid of all sin for you to be able to run this race, right? Because we're always going to be sinners, unfortunately. That's not an excuse to sin, but it's being realistic. We're all going to be sinners. But if you're continually falling in the same sins or addictions time and time again, then you're not going to be able to advance in the race because there's been no change in your heart. So there's somewhere along the line part of ourselves or a certain thing in our life to God, and that's why we're continually sinning in this way. So if we want to run this race, we need to get rid of the sin which has clung onto us, because this word that uses sin that clings is just another word for what we call an addiction now. Let go of those things that you're addicted to, that are constantly pulling you away from God. Let go of them. And obviously, if sin has clung onto you, I mean, you need God to get rid of it. You're not going to do it on your own strength. So there's a part of, being submissive to God in that sense. The third one is running with endurance. Now, I thought I've always lacked, physical endurance. I can't go run crazy mileage like a lot of people do. But this is a little bit different here, because we can see that for endurance, we require self-discipline, right? Self-control, doing the things that we don't like to do. And that's obviously a big part of what we do in the gym too, is developing that self-discipline. But you look around and you realize most people in this life lack discipline. Most people lack self-control. And you just think like, is this a personality thing? Like, can I just not run this race because I'm just, inherently a person that doesn't have self-control and all these senses and physical, spiritual, whatever. But then we need to remember self-control is a fruit of the Spirit. If we submit to God and we live in the Spirit, then all the things that we need to run this race have already been given to us, the fruits of the Spirit. But that doesn't mean you come to Christ and you're automatically the most self-controlling or most disciplined person in the entire world. Those fruits of the Spirit are given to us as gifts, and we're supposed to develop the gifts, right? You practice all this stuff, but you practice it according to the power that God has given us access to. And what does that even mean? Well, if you want to be more self-disciplined or closer in your relationship with God, you just practice every single day, submitting to Him, because we're drawing on the power of God, not our own power. So drawing on the power of God looks like seeking Him every single day, praying, reading the Word, worshiping, spending time in praise, fellowship with brothers, all that stuff. That's what submitting to God is. And if you practice that enough, then the fruits of the Spirit will develop, because to develop the fruits of the Spirit, you need to live in the Spirit, right? We're not going to develop the fruits of the Spirit by trying harder or being a good Christian, So the fruits of the Spirit develop from living in the Spirit. And lastly, it says, looking onto Jesus. So this one's kind of obvious, right? He is the author, the perfecter, the finisher of our faith. So if we want to finish this race, the race of faith, we need to look onto Jesus. We need to constantly submit our lives to Him. We need to constantly seek Him, because you're not going to run this race of faith submitting to Jesus one time a week on a Sunday. You're not going to run this race of faith, submitting to Jesus on Christmas and on Easter every single year, and there's a lot of Christians out there, people that call themselves Christians that only go to church 2 times a year, right? Or that they'll post all the stuff on their Instagram, all whatever, that they're Christian. And honestly, it's really sad because I think that they've convinced themselves that they're followers of God, except their life doesn't reflect it at all, So if you want to run the race of faith, it's not just appearing Christian. It's not knowing when to go to church and doing all these right things and saying all these right things, because anyone knows how to do that. Someone can have the entire Bible memorized and they'll be so spiritually dead, and I've met people like that too, where you realize like this does nothing for you, right? If you are the same person that you were 6 months ago or even a year ago or longer, then it's not a God problem. It's that you actually haven't been looking for him. You haven't actually invited him into your life to change you, right? And it's not that by your moral standard you are a better person. Now, no. What does the Bible say? What does Scripture say? And how does your life compare against it? Now, you're always going to fall short, but that doesn't mean that God is not constantly working and transforming your life. So those are the keys. Those are the 4 keys to staying in the race. Lay aside every weight. Let go of the sin that clings. Run with endurance and look unto Jesus. Because, guys, this is a lifelong race. If you want to finish it, the author of Hebrews laid out these 4 things for us very, very clearly. And it's up to us how much we want to submit to them, submit to God. So, yeah. We're going to transition out of this. Now, I never know how to do the transitions, but I'm going to transition into the gym talk here. I'm currently driving to the gym. Beautiful morning in Nampa, Idaho. And I'm thinking today is going to be a nice push day, just based on how the splits, been progressing. Some of the videos, if you guys have been watching them all, you're going to see they're a little bit out of order. I don't know how that happened when I was editing. I just ended up posting them out of order, and I needed to do it because I wanted to get videos out there. So today, if it's a push day and you're like, wait, didn't you just do? It's okay. In real life, everything's right. And I'm probably going to be posting every video the day I work out from now on. So like my split will be accurate on YouTube as to what I did that exact day in real life. So we're going to be just destroying our chest. I hit back with my buddy Dylan on Saturday, and for some reason my lats woke up super sore today. I don't even know why, because yesterday I did arms more than anything, and then I had legs and all that stuff. So I don't know if my crazy DOMs for my back from Saturday, but we'll see. All I know is that this pump, like every other pump, is going to be diabolical. It's going to be borderline debaucherous, and hopefully it's going to be thread splitting on the shirt because of how good it's going to be. So yeah, remember guys, run the race of faith, because any other goal you guys can have in the gym is all in vain if your heart's not in the right place. So yeah, let's get after it. We'll see you guys in the gym. Or push exercise. Drop the weight here. Try and get the reps back up here. My chest is gassed. Alright, first working set of a shoulder press here. Second set here. Thanks. Skull crushers here. All right, guys, heading out from the gym. It's a beautiful morning in Meridian, Idaho now, because that's where I'm at. Chest pumped to oblivion. So objective complete there. I couldn't film all my sets of triceps because someone came and literally took the bench that my camera was sitting on to film. So I was just like, I'm not gonna make this more difficult than it needs to be. So I just did triceps, moved on to pec deck, finished off with a nice squeeze focused, like standing cable press. And yeah, my chest looked like it was about to rip out of my shirt when I was in the locker room. So I am not ever gonna complain about a nice chest pump. My little post-lift physique check for myself in the locker room after was pretty encouraging. I'm gonna be chasing the pump always. I want to be as big as my pump one day, but we all know you'll never be as big as your pump because your pump just keeps on getting better. So that was today's lift. Tomorrow, I mean, I got a lot of stuff I need to do tomorrow. A lot of like busy work, moving a lot of stuff. So I shouldn't probably go to the gym before, but because it's a leg day, but I think I am going to because, you know, why not? And, you know, I'm probably gonna be tired doing all that stuff anyways, so might as well, and it has to get done. So, you know, if you know, I got a crazy, you know, leg workout and then I have to do it anyways, I mean, you know, I don't have to do the leg workout, but I have to move the stuff. So I'd rather just, you know, get the leg workout out of the way, and then when I'm moving the stuff, be like, well, I can't just put this down and say, no, I don't want to, you know? So kind of just setting yourself up, cornering yourself for the lift, cornering for the gains, you can call it. But I'm not completely certain yet, not because I'm a slacker or anything, but because I'll still be able to get all the days I need to work out in this week. So I'm thinking if I do tomorrow morning, I will rest on Friday and then hit Saturday, Sunday as well. So I'll see what the deal is. If not, I'd skip tomorrow, hit Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But we'll see. We'll see where the weekly lifts take us. So you guys will find out when I do. Quick interlude, you guys. Okay, so I stopped by work, or stopped by on the way to work to get some stuff I needed, and I hit on the vending machine. Of course, the stuff no one wants. I like both of these sets. I think they're both great sets. So let's see if I can get another Clefairy from here. I have 2 of them already because I love Journey Together. And I'm chasing the Meowth SIR from this one and also the Gold Zygarde. So I wouldn't mind another Salamence or something like that from Journey Together. So we'll see. I don't think there's anything in here. I kind of saw the cards in the back. Durant. No, it kind of looks like there is. Maybe an IR. Nope. Absolutely just bulk from Journey Together, which is so demoralizing because I have every single card in the set already. My brother's mastering it, so I'll just give it to him. Okay. Pretty sure there's a Meowth in this guy right here. That's why there's a Meowth on the cover, so. Meowth, Meowth, come on. I need you. I need you, Meowth. I have the Japanese Meowth, I just need it in English. The Hunter. Okay, got a Luxio. Slandit. Yay! Rocky Energy. Well, I don't know why I was optimistic about these, just straight bulk. But now you guys know, if you didn't already, I love Pokemon.